Hello and welcome to World Now on TVC News. We start off in Africa. Kenya's Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has been removed from office after he was impeached in a historic vote in the country's Senate on Thursday night. Mr. Gachagua becomes the first Deputy President to be removed from office in this way since impeachment was introduced in Kenya's 2010 constitution. The 59-year-old, who was once a close ally of President William Ruto, faced 11 charges, including insubordination to the president, inciting ethnic violence, corruption, undermining government, and money laundering, among others. Mr. Gachagua rejected the charges against him as being politically motivated, but the Senate, which only had to find him guilty of one charge to remove him, decided he was guilty for 5 of the 11 that Mr. Gachagua was faced. Thursday's vote came at the end of a 2-day Senate trial hearing, during which the now former Deputy President and the National Assembly both argued their cases. Senior Coordinator, African Students for Liberty, Charles Inyakombo, joins me from Nairobi to discuss what this means. Good to have you join us on World Now. Mr. Gachagua's impeachment is unprecedented. What does this mean for the country's political structure?
Right. Thank you for having me. Mr. Gachagua's impeachment is unprecedented in the Constitution, but it was anticipated in the Constitution that we have in Kenya today. So the impact of this is that we might have political instability. This might lead to instability in politics, because Gachagua comes from a region of very high, high number of voters, and we are already seeing mixed reactions and undertones as a result of this. Number two, we also anticipate power dynamics. So this could alter the power dynamics within the government, affecting how future presidents, deputy presidents, and other officials conduct themselves.
So this is likely to have a spiral effect. But then President Ruto has now nominated his interior minister for the post of deputy president. How will that impact governance and the current structure?
Now, this is quite significant. And this, in terms of the governance and, of course, the entire structure, we do see continuity and experience being impacted here, because the interior minister have very significant experience in government, and this could ensure we have stability and, of course, continuity in governance. It's also important to note that they also come from the same region as the impeached deputy president. Then, of course, in terms of the policy focus, the new deputy president nominee might bring a focus on internal security and administrative efficiency, which is largely given by his current, his background on this area. And of course, lastly, we do foresee a cabinet reshuffle. So we expect some nomination, which might lead to reshuffle in the cabinet, which will really affect the overall governance and structure of the entire government, and even the priorities that we have currently set for the government.
All right, but we know that Mr. Gachagua used to be very close allies with President Ruto. How did they fall out?
That's a very interesting question. It's not clear yet, but in our own understanding of the fallout between the president and his former deputy, this is very critical for us also to really understand, because it will inform, it will even shape the future of our politics within these 3 years that we have before the next election. But possible reasons for the fallout, as we perceive it as citizens, is that, number one, this could be due to political disagreement policy. The policy differences that they might have, which we have, in politics, we have the competing personal interest and also the general well-being of the entire citizens, because when during the campaigns, of course, we have the promises that were made to individuals, others were made to communities. But now, after assuming power, we have a nation to protect. We have to talk about the national unity. So we suspect that perhaps one of the reasons might be the personal conflicts, which might be as a result of policy and also as a result of the structure of the administration. Number two, we are looking into the prevention of the occurrence of this, because this being the first time this is happening to us, if the major reason could be the disagreements, then of course we need to look into how to curb this occurring again, maybe in the next administration, and of course choosing candidates of proven characters like and other experienced people in the government or rather in the country will really shape how we elect or appoint deputy presidents in the next elections or in the near future. So we just do foresee personal interest and also just the alignment of the policies as the major reason that might have caused the fallout. Because if you look at the charges that were leveled against the deputy president, the major one that got the highest number of votes, which was about 53 senators, was just about the national unity and the cohesion. Because the main appeal on that charge was that the former deputy president was mostly talking about a single region, and this was not sitting well with the entire nation, and also just the values and the principles of opposition, which says that the president and the presidency is a symbol of national unity. So that seems to us coming out clearly and loudly as the major reasons that caused the fallout between the president and his former deputy. That regard. But of course, we are really keen on the developments and just to see that we curb this occurring in the future as we.
Yeah, and we know that the Senate found Mr. Gachagua guilty of 5 of the 11 count charges leveled against him. Could this have any link with the nation's nationwide protests also?
Yes, it could have some link with it, but of course, none of the charges, out of the 11 charges that were leveled against Gachagua, none of them actually touched on that, except there was a charge that was on the charge number 5, I think 5 or 6 there, that was on the international, that was on the insightful public utterances. And of course, this was mostly when we headed the protest, the former deputy president came out clearly and criticized the security apparatus and said that it was a mess on their end, and they did not really provide the president with clear information that the bill that was on contest by that time was really unpopular to the Kenyans. So that alone really exposed the nation to some security vulnerabilities, because if our intelligence service is being criticized by somebody as elected as the deputy president, then of course that really raises a lot of questions. And I think that was one of the charges among the 5 that was approved approved by the Senate yesterday. So it could have some link, especially to that effect, because the entire impeachment also would have even out of the 11, if only one was approved, then he would have it was that was going home.
I hear you,
Yes.
Mr. Nyankombo. Charles Nyankombo is Senior Coordinator, African Students for Liberty. Thank you for talking to us on World Now.
Thank you for having me.